Hello, everybody, and welcome to Final Show Films. I'm John, your executive producer here, and thanks for tuning in to watch or listen to whatever it is you're about to watch or listen to. In these trying times, we really do appreciate everyone that feels that we are worth their time, and we hope that we're able to give you something entertaining to while away the time as you spend it. We particularly want to thank those of you that feel like we're worth financially contributing to, particularly our $25 and up supporters on Patreon, who are Antitonic, Drevian Alexander, Cat Waterflame, Rowan Parker, and Samantha Bates. Yes, I read that off of a list. Thank you very much for supporting us. I know that in these uncertain times, finances are tough for everybody, so that you're willing to donate to us means a lot to all of us here, and we thank you. That being said, please sit back, relax, and enjoy. We're live.
Hello and welcome back, everybody, to another adventure or episode of Perseus Endeavors in the Lancer RPG system. I am Cody, the game master for tonight, and joining me today is John.
I'm John. I'm playing Oni, currently piloting the Vanguard pattern GMS Everest Mizuchi.
And Andrew.
Hello, I'm Andrew, currently piloting the... playing Sparky, currently piloting the sniper pattern GMS Everest Larimar.
And Craig.
Hi, I'm playing Maggie, callsign Maw, currently piloting the standard pattern GMS Everest Homestead.
And William.
I'm William, currently playing... Wow, the currently just got swapped. Okay.
Currently playing Valkyrie. This may change later.
I'm playing Valkyrie, currently piloting the command pattern GMS Everest Regenleif.
And last we left off, our Lancers were able to locate and perform a fairly quick assault and rather efficient assault on a pirate base that they located while looking for an Andaran envoy. And after clearing out the pirates and seemingly no combatants left within sight, we join our Lancers.
So I hit the comms that we've been using to communicate with the envoy. Andaran envoy, this is Oni of the Sadamari Mercenary Corps. We've eliminated all the hostiles that we have found in the facility. Can you give us any more accurate directions to your location? And then over the private Lancer frequency between the four of us, we really need to figure out a better name.
When you're finishing the last bit, name starts to reply. He goes, they stuck me in the back corner somewhere, I think. Don't know which side of the facility. They kept me in or kept my head covered, but I do know I'm near some corner.
All right, well, let us shout if you hear walking. And I'm just going to start moving. I'm just going to start moving around the
I
facility.
did hear gunfire off to my right.
I'm going to move
over, I guess, short range comms.
And so you noticed, you were the only one that noticed Mizuchi, when you came in here. This gray area right here is a landing pad. There were bay doors, and they were open when you came and started fucking with this assault mech over here.
Okay. I'm just gonna while Ma is talking, I'm just gonna indicate in that direction to the others so that we can start heading that way.
Craig.
Well, Maul is still on the shoulder of Mizuchi. So over short range comms, Maul said, hey, hun, before you go marching us off into some other kind of trouble, you won't put me down?
Oh, right. Yeah, hang on. Actually, hang on.
I mean, I can shadow a Colossus it down off your ass, but I'd prefer not to.
I'm just going to boost over towards the other back towards Maul's mech.
Okay.
So it's like, actually, hold on.
Are you wearing a hat, Ma?
You know what? She's wearing a full locked heavy suit, but she probably also has a straw hat on top of the outside of the suit.
Okay, so since he warned you, you're able to hold on to it. You just feel the wind, and the hat goes for a second, and then, all right. So there you go.
All right. She'll use the polarity reverse on the mag boots to jump back over to the homestead and then get back inside, take control back over from Doodlebug.
All right.
While they're doing that, Valkyrie's going to head over here.
Yep.
Yeah, Sparky
this
is
door.
also moving out to examine the one on the other side.
Yep. Let me just reveal these. So both of you open these doors, and it looks like they're both still in the middle of construction, actually. Sparky, the room that you're in is basically, so far, it's just been, it looks like it's just been, the excavation of it has just been started. And for Valkyrie, there's a little bit more excavation on the south side of the room, but most of what's up here, it looks like this is where the actual power plant is inside. There's a small cooling pool for reactors, and then the generator or the storage capacitors are lined up on the north wall.
Having now dropped Maw off, I'm heading down because I saw a door down here.
Yep. So you find yourself in a warehouse, and there are a handful of cells along the far side wall. And as you approach the door, you can hear over the comms. All of you can hear over the comms. Hey, I think somebody's outside.
Yeah,
Open the
will
door.
Immediately turn and move in.
Yep.
Sparky will immediately turn and move in Mizuchi's direction.
Okay. Tell me that's you.
Probably.
I think we're the only ones stomping around.
I hope so.
Someone should go check the other side of this entryway, though. Let's say indicating over here.
Yeah, Valkyrie will head down that way.
As I move in. And
Maul is still up top.
can I see the envoy?
Yeah, so these are like about 10 feet tall storage. It looks like this is where they stored most of the ammunition and foodstuffs, just general storage area. So it's only about 10 feet tall, and you can see over it and down into the cells. So yeah, you can see him.
I will dismount so I can go help get him out of a cage. And as I do, if anybody's got extra room in their frame, I found our
That'd
envoy.
be me. Yep. That's what I'm built for.
I do also have one, but you go ahead.
What did Valkyrie find in the other room?
Valkyrie in the other room, when you open that up, you can see 2 full-size printers, and then a handful of, so these larger, not the very large brown squares, these ones, let me see, these right here are the mech printers. These right here are like the normal size printers, and then these right here are actually computer banks that are on and flashing.
Found plenty of hardware in that other room that you might want to take a look at, Sparky, especially our printers.
On it.
Go ahead and roll a d20, Valkyrie. Or Sparky. Actually, yeah, no, Sparky, since Valkyrie left.
Can I use hack or fix to help here?
Yes, that would.
Meanwhile, I get out of my suit, out of my mech, jump over towards where Envoy is and begin cutting him free.
Okay. So you begin cutting him free. Sparky, as you walk in, you can see that these computers are currently active doing something, and then as you step closer, you can see that they're wiping themselves. And they're not currently done yet.
I will immediately move to do my best to prevent
Okay.
any further data from being lost.
Go ahead and roll another d20. Hacker fix will apply.
All right. Another +2. Ah, that's a 9.
9. You're able to save a small bit of data.
A sliver of data.
Yeah, a sliver of data, and but as you copy over the last bit that's still there, and extract it to your mech's drives, the final the little bar finishes, the screen blanks out, and then it comes up with basically like an MS-DOS screen.
Yeah,
Just kick my
Sparky,
drink.
Sparky will immediately get on the comms. Our adversaries had some time to start their computers wiping themselves. I recovered what I could. It's not much.
All right.
What'd you find in terms of tech?
Just as Valkyrie said, it looks like we've got printers. These look mech-sized. We might be able to print our own with these.
Spoils of war.
Oh.
Indeed.
So you guys get him out of there.
What kind of cage is the Envoy in?
It's very primitive. You don't have to work hard to hold a hurt person. So it's literally just pretty much iron bars. They're only about an inch and a half apart.
So like it's like you step to the back wall for me and just reach up and pull off this oversized sword off my back. Just 2 hands and slice through the bars.
Okay, one second. Let me see does your sword have any special properties?
No, it's just heavy.
It's big.
It's big.
It's big.
Okay.
It's
Is this
mech-sized.
your signature weapon?
No, this is my where's my there it is. It's my medium AC. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right, yeah, that's enough.
Not mech-sized.
It's not as clean as you would have liked through. You go through about 2 bars and then you hit the locking mechanism and it stops, and then you have to wrench it out.
That's fine. Pull it out,
But
kick
then
the broken bars down.
Yep. As soon as with it broken and you kicking the lock, the lock part, it bends in a little bit and then it just kind of squeaks out, and you thanks pushes out.
I extend a hand. Oni.
Guys, Takar, Envoy of Andara.
Pleasure. Let's get you out of here.
Yeah, thanks. Y'all didn't see one second. You said you found a printer room?
Yeah.
He says, looking at you, Oni.
Yeah.
Goes over the general comms. Is there a large bluish looking mech with assault rifle and ammo pack on the back?
Do I see such a mech? in
Yep,
this?
over in this back left corner, you see like a discarded droid from Star Wars just slumped over against the wall, partially taken apart for parts, but it is slumped and it has a few bore holes in it.
Yeah, Sparky will just peer around one of the printers. We have visual confirmation, but it looks damaged and disassembled in several places.
Those sons of bitches better not have. You see, as he starts walking out of the door.
Let's get you over there.
Hey, how's our new friend look over comms? Does he look damaged and disassembled at all?
I'll give him a glance over. Is he bleeding or injured?
No, he's a little dirty. The plating on the sides of his face are a little scuffed up, but other than that, no serious damage.
Overcomes. Nothing a good bath and a hot meal couldn't fix.
Is it cute?
Sparky will ignore that comment and start examining this droid-shaped creature that's...
Valkyrie
mentioned.
over comms will just go, he doesn't look bad, not really my type, but
All right. Well, jury's still out on well, anyhow. And she
I
will
mean,
go back
I'm
to
not picky, but
Oh, hon. Well, when you have as little time left as I do, you learn to get, I wouldn't say picky. I'd say you develop taste.
Astra,
But when I was your age, I likewise was not picky.
Astra, disable squad communications to our remote for 30 seconds.
Done. You hear.
also I'm just using my data plating, so he's like hearing my part and nothing else.
Over Sparky's comm here, like, well, I remember one time back, and it cuts off.
Yep, cuts off right in the middle of that. So you're looking over the mech. It looks to be some pattern of GMS Everest that you don't quite recognize. It's a little. I don't have the picture anymore, but it's very rounded armor.
I do because it's in your character's a sheet on the comp con.
Yeah. So if you guys want to look at that, that's what the mech looks like.
I've put it on the stream.
Oh, nice. I had it on
Sorry, Mel.
Pinterest and then it went away, and I'm sad.
And I also put it in
But
Slack.
yeah. So nice. Is there anything you were trying to figure? Or
Basically, I'm just looking to see whether it is in fact salvageable.
oh yeah, it looks like most of what's been taken off, but like the general frame is still there. Most of what's been removed are like the armoring elements to it. That now that you can see parts of it removed, the plating on it does seem to be fairly dense and thick as far as armor is concerned.
Once Astra turns comms back on, Sparky will send out a message. Looks to be an Everest pattern mech, still functional, but in less good a condition than its owner would like.
I'll pass that
Yeah,
along.
there is a hand missing from it.
I'll pass that along to our envoy.
Okay. He goes,
As you click,
bastards.
as you click comms back on, you catch the tail end of, and that's why I was cordially invited never to return to the powering system.
Valkyrie, the Regan Leif just kind of reaches down and extends a hand to let the envoy back up, to let the envoy up as the cockpit opens. If you want to get a ride over there, I've got room.
Sure. And hops in your mech.
I will reboard the Mizuchi at that point.
All right. I'm assuming.
Regan Leif will fly over.
While you're doing that, I'll send a message
You can
out.
All right.
I'm-
While you're in here, you also see another handful of those assault mechs that are the hunting mechs that you fought up in the northern part of the building, in various states of disrepair. One of them is littered with just ravaged with tears and claw marks, and one of them is missing the lower half of about 3/4 of one of the mech legs. It looks to have been tore off mid beam or mid structure beam for it. But yeah, so there's various destroyed mechs in here as well.
I am going to send a message back to the city that we landed in.
Okay, yeah, Laprin.
Yeah, Laprin. What was the name of our contact in Laprin?
Anara Devon.
Yes.
Narrativon. This is Oni. This is Oni of the Lancer Squadron, sent to rescue Endar, an envoy reaching out for Miss Devon.
It's a few moments. One moment, we can have Miss Devon on the line. Please hold.
Yep.
There's another brief pause. And then here. This is Devon. News regarding the envoy, I'm being told.
Sorry, what was that? I missed that last part of the sentence.
She said news. She said she was told that there was news of the envoy.
Yes. Yeah, yes, Mr. Devon. We've confirmed rescue of the envoy as well as elimination of a group of pirates out here that looked like they were harvesting your giant turtles. Got a base that has some additional materials that we would appreciate assistance getting to our ship, if possible.
What type of materials?
Mech printers.
We have a few mech printers.
Yep, and we can't carry them ourselves.
I can see if we have any vehicles large enough to transport that. Do you have the tools to move them or remove them from their current
I'll
locations?
flip over to squad comms. Hey Sparky, do you think you and Ma could get those mech printers ready to move?
Are they out of character first? Just so would I know in character if they are active currently? I know they were being wiped, but are they still programmable?
Yeah, the computers were wiping themselves. The mech printers are like
Giant
regular
3D printers.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so there's whatever you can program into them, they're still functional. They're just very large and they take time to remove and move. It's easier to install them than it is to uninstall them because of their size.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, do they have like some manner of ease of use movement system? But evidently they don't.
Yeah, no, most mech printers are, once they're down, they're generally, they can be moved. It's just time consuming. It's like moving a conveyor belt.
Oh yeah.
Well, if we don't got the tools we need, we could just print them up. So, main issue is time.
Back over to the comms city. Yeah, no, we've got the ability. We just don't have the cargo hauling capacity right now.
Okay, we'll see if we can get some haulers out there. Do you think you would be able to escort those haulers if we're able to scrounge them up.
Oh yeah, just let us know when you're ready, and two of us will come back to escort them out this way.
No
Will
problem.
do.
In fact, you want to give us enough time, we could print ourselves up. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm not on this call.
Yeah, you're not on this call.
Sorry.
Yeah, just reach out to me when you're ready, and we'll send folks back.
Will do. Those pirates, they're gone, right?
One of them escaped, we think, but all the rest are 100% KIA.
That would explain the radar contact we had a while ago, but it is gone now. That's good to hear. We'll be contacting you shortly.
Yep. And if you have anybody you want to send out with those cargo haulers to deal with the corpses of these Tor Drakes, because we have no idea what to do with them.
she said, "How fresh are they?"
I lean back so I can see them. Can I tell it all?
As far as you can tell, it doesn't look like they're rotting, so they look to be fairly fresh.
Maggie is
they weren't
actively carving steaks.
Yeah, you do see Maggie out there going to the fleshy bits and just like sawing some bits off.
I'm not an expert, but they don't seem like they're rotting. Why?
We'll have some biologists over there shortly.
Cool. All right.
And yep.
Well,
Yeah, I think I sent you those pictures, Craig, for the other creatures on Slack. But yeah,
Was it direct message? Oh, okay. All right.
yeah, possibly.
All right. Well, we'll be ready when you send us a message. And I'll click back over to the squad comms. Ma, stop carving on those. They're sending biologists out to get them.
All right, hon. I'll go check out our the other captives here. She's
all
gonna
right. So
head over to the
here's
cages.
the deal. They're gonna scrounge up a couple of cargo haulers to help us get those printers back out to our ship. We're gonna, when they give me the call, two of us are gonna head back to town and probably drop our envoy off and escort them back out here while the other two get those printers ready to load.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
it wasn't a direct message, Craig. My bad. I'll get you some pictures.
It's okay. You can just describe them, because that's where she's headed now. That's the only reason I was asking.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, we'll do that. So along the walls, back in the harvest cavern, basically, you do see in the cages, there's a few, quite a few adolescent or even infant valley prowlers.
Okay.
There is one very small Tor Drake that you can see. And there's various other creatures. One of them looks to be, it has a scaly hide, long, elongated snout that kind of flattens out with some tusks that come out the side, two sets, one longer than the one before it. It's very stout, bulky, and right now it's just kind of just laying down, facing the cage, just basically just staring at all the movement now that's happening. Now that all the excitement has died down.
And this is one of the ones that looks like a young or juvenile form of its species.
This one doesn't look like any of the valley prowlers
Okay.
or anything else you've seen, so you're not quite sure if it's adolescent or full grown. But let me get you a picture of it because I do have pictures of these. It's also got bony protrusions on its back.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just waiting for it to load.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah.
There is also, it's got reddish, it looks fairly reptilian as well, not quite as thick of a hide. It's got some spines down its back, long, fleshy. They look fleshy, but they are fairly stiff. So maybe some sort of cartilage or analogous to that. Looks like a very large salamander. That's probably it's. This one is about the size of maybe a Great Dane.
Okay.
This one looks like this. And then there is also what looks like the last large cage that's in there that has a living creature in it, because there's multiple cages, but not all of them have living creatures in them. Looks to be a large bone-looking boulder that has a single curved protrusion from the front of it, but it looks like a large rock that's not moving until you get close, and then it kind of just ruffles a little bit, and you see this.
Looks like
Okay, cool.
like some sort of cross between an armadillo and a rhino.
Yeah. That's a very good description.
I'm just describing that because we're not on the Roll20 screen for the stream anymore, so they can't see it.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So we have. First, I'm going to look at the cages in general. What are the opening and closing mechanisms? Are they automated or are they old style, manual latches?
They look to be automated, electronic. That when open, the bars just go straight up, Jurassic Park style. Okay.
I'm going to figure out if there's a way I can get access to that system from. She's out of Homestead right now, but is there a way I can get remote access to that system?
You gather that if there was remote access, it would be in the room with the printers and other computers.
Okay.
You do see cabling that goes from behind them up the back wall caverns, and then they kind of coalesce at the roof, and then go in that general direction.
Okay. Aside from that, is there a way that there could be if I can't do a remote release that would work from far away, can I set up a timer release for the cages to open?
Not at the cages.
Okay.
At the cages, the most you could probably do is try to brute force hack it, or you could interrupt the source signal from the computers in the printer room and short out the lock so that you can physically lift it.
I think what he was saying, though, is that you could probably figure out a way to remote open them from the computer room, from the printer room.
Yeah, I just my concern is if they're sending scientists to research the. You know what? I don't know that because you didn't share that with us.
No, I did. I said they're sending biologists. I told you to stop cutting on the Tordrakes because they're sending biologists down here to look at them.
That's right. You did. Okay, yeah. the issue is then she doesn't want to open up the cages and just release them all because some of them may go over and just start eating the dead Tordrakes.
Yeah.
And then also create a hostile work environment for the biologists. So, the concern was maybe have some way to make sure that nothing gets left caged up after we leave. But she's got to sort of walking back and forth, and she's saying to the juvenile prowlers as she's walking around, said, "Don't worry, make sure you get out of here. Just gonna do it in a way that you don't come up and jump on any of our asses while you're doing it." And she's walking back and forth, and she stops by that one that looks that the sort of reddish skinned lizard with the spines on its back.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks at it and says, "Oh, you remind me of the skink hounds we used to have back on New Harlan." And she'll kind of crouch down in front of the cage and look in at it. Is there any kind of indicator on what's in there, or
I see.
what it's called or anything like that?
I see Harlan's World
no,
got a sequel.
No,
They,
no, like as in like Harlan, Kentucky.
No, I'm thinking of Harlan's World, which is the planet, the name of the planet that Altered Carbon takes place on.
Oh,
yeah.
Fair. Okay. No, this is New Harlan, like from Harlan, Kentucky.
Yeah.
No, they didn't label the things that they were going to harvest.
Okay.
They weren't
Right.
too concerned about the names.
They don't have one of those, cut maps on like they have on cows and pigs. It's like, here's where you get the.
Nope. There's just you do see nearby there is a table or there is a crate with a picture of this creature on it already.
Okay. Oh, like to be packed for shipping?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is not a zoo. This is the biological equivalent of a junk drawer, basically, right?
Yeah, from what you can gather, this is a poaching operation where they harvested exotic animals and whatever they may have provided, and basically would sell all the parts. And you being a rancher you would have had a few run-ins with poachers trying to do this near your ranch.
Okay.
So there was a couple times you lost at least one skink hound to poachers when didn't return when you called it
Okay.
or signaled for it to return.
Sure. Okay. She's kind of crouching down in front of this thing, and she looks through it's bars, vertical bars.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, so what you thinking there? I'll let you out. You gonna try to eat my face?
It kind of just looks up, and you see it color patterns, kind of like a chameleon, just more rapid shifting of the colors on its face and up towards its antlers. Go ahead and roll a d20.
The answer is yes. It's going
Do
to
you
eat
have
your
anything
face.
that might? Do you have anything you think might help with this?
Yeah, we had talked, I think, after the session last time, but I had asked you if my charm would apply to creatures as well because of the ranching background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll apply.
Appropriately enough, one of my real life pets is in the kitchen knocking over things, apparently.
They do that.
16.
16? Yeah. So you're able to tell it doesn't appear to be aggressive. It's more of just a low rumble that you can actually pick up on. Kind of like not for threatening, but when crocodiles do the vibrating in the water,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of deal.
Yeah.
That subsonic, you can hear the top part of it as it kind of, and then it rolls back down.
There was
I'm going to toss it a piece of it. Go ahead.
I was saying there was a research paper done recently about trying to find the resonant frequency of crocodiles when they vibrate in water. That got an Ig Nobel award.
I'm going to take one of the chunks of meat that I've been cutting off of the drakes and toss it in to it.
Kind of flicks a tongue out, and it's a 3-pronged tongue. Kind of laps at it, goes back in its mouth, and then a second tongue flings out like a frog, grabs it, and just pulls it in.
Oh, there you go. That's weird as hell, but I kind of like it. Let's see. See, come on. You come on with me. I'll show you where the buffet is. I'm gonna open up the. She's gonna kind of put a hand on the hammer just in case. But then she's gonna open up the cage.
Okay. Go ahead and roll d20 to try to open the cage.
We're all
Okay,
down here in the
Hackapie?
southern side of the facility and completely unaware
Yep.
of if Maul gets eaten.
I was tasked with moving these printers, so I'm gonna keep moving them.
Yep.
I got a 4.
You got a 4? Okay. Yeah. So you start. You go over to the keypad. You kind of look it over. You hit a couple buttons, and it looks like a kennel cage that you used to have on the ranch, and you're like, maybe this is the same model. And you hit a couple buttons, and then one of the buttons jams down, and it won't come back up. And you're like, oh shit!
Son of
And
a biscuit.
it's jammed shut now until that's fixed.
All right. Well, listen. Here I'm gonna toss in a couple more pieces of meat, and then if I've got any left over, I'll sort of toss those around to any of the other animals that look hungry, and I'll say, all right, listen, I'm gonna be back for you. You stay there. You rumble away.
All right. As you start throwing around the other pieces of meat, any of the valley prowlers that get meat instantly devour it. They tear into it. You hear snarling, all that stuff. A couple of the other creatures don't seem interested in the meat at all. And the lizard creature that you tried to break free actually only eats one more piece, leaves the other one there. Doesn't eat it immediately.
All right. And you said the main.
It just kind of crosses its arms and lays back down.
Okay. And you said the main control for this room probably would be in the room with the printers.
Yeah, that's where all the cabling seems to lead.
Okay. All right. I will saddle back up and head in that direction then.
Okay. While this is going on, what is everybody else doing? Sparky was working on. Are you starting to? Let's see.
Basically, just trying to find the easiest way to get these printers out of the ground, as it were.
Yeah. Let's see.
While still ensuring that they are in fact usable.
Yeah. So you'll be able to. The main thing is going to be time. It's not too difficult to get these unlatched. Depends on the mech. It takes time to get them unlatched, or it's fairly simple to get them unlatched from whatever they're mounted to. It's just finding something that can lift it in a single or as a single piece because of the machinery that's inside it. That's fairly fragile if it's dropped or jostled suddenly in any way once it's been lifted. So it'll be easy to get it not attached to the ground. It's just getting it up will be the difficult part.
Door, do the printers look like they were big enough to move through the door fully built?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but they'll fit.
Right. So they were carefully moved in rather than being assembled here. Which suggests that these people probably had something to move them. She's musing aloud over this.
Max.
True.
Whenever Maggie gets there, she'll you just tell me, I guess, when she gets there.
Yeah. Valkyrie, what were you up to while?
Valkyrie was bringing Envoy over to his mech and seeing if Do you think you can get that thing up and running, or would you rather just print a new one out since we're taking these printers with us? She
I
says
could
over
have it.
her shoulder because presumably the extra compartment is like behind and above the pilot.
Yeah, and he's actually gotten out at this point, and he's been looking it over, and he says, I could probably walk it back to my ship, and doesn't look like it's too bad. It just bastards used it for spare parts. Just gets in, boots it up, walks around. It's a little wobbly, and then he just pops back out after it's leaving it standing. Yeah, I can get it moved, or might just have a new one printed. Oh well. Kind of pats it on the side, walks over. And that's about when Maggie gets in.
You want to try and get it out of here, or are you going to ride with me on the way back?
It depends on what you're all doing with these. And he points to the mech printers. And he's like, I could have another one printed. I could use the parts from this one and some of these busted POSs and just reprint this one brand new. Just depends on what all your plans are.
Well, I believe our plans are to take these for our ship because our ship's lacking in the mech-sized printers.
They would be handy.
Might not be a bad idea to let him fix up his current ride. I guess Homestead sort of raises one of its arms in a wave. Hi there.
Hello, thank you for your help. I'm assuming you're with, as you're not being shot at with these two.
Not today. Yep. Call sign Ma. Was up north looking at all them critters they got in the cages.
Yeah, I heard those when they brought me in. Sounds like a party up there.
How long you think? Well, looking at the printers and looking at the mech, do I have an idea of how long it would take to patch it?
If he's going to do a full just reprint and just feed the materials into the printer, probably take the better part of 2 days.
Oh, geez. Okay.
That's standard for most mechs, though. Is they take time to print a full mech. If you print it in parts, it's easier because then you can just put it together as you print the parts. It's a little faster, but it's a lot more work.
Whereas printing it full scale, it has to print the pieces and their connectors and put it together in the printer. So it takes a longer, but
it's never, you're never missing a piece. You don't end up with an extra bolt in your hand going, well, fuck, where does this go?
Right. If we were to do a sort of a quick and dirty job feeding in the totally busted bits and printing them back out, how long would that take us?
Probably about 4 or 5 hours.
Okay. Mags looks around at the others and says, what do y'all think? Should we go ahead and try to get this one working, or should we just work on breaking down these printers, get them out of here? Hey, Oni, how long they say it was going to be before we get our
they're going to let me know once they have them scrounged up, and then we're going to head back to escort them up here. I'd say just go ahead and start getting those things broken up. Valkyrie and I can carry him back, and he can get his thing reprinted elsewhere. That'll just save time. Because if we take the time to print stuff, then it's just going to be that much longer to get these printers out of here.
What do you say, hun? You fine riding shotgun? Addressed to the new guy.
That's no problem.
All right then. Sparky,
and-
what you got so far? Sorry.
Well,
Oh,
I think
one
I cut
second.
off William.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, William.
Yeah, so she was going to say, could always ride with us. I mean, from my understanding, there is a forming Lancer Corporation here, and it seems like one of us is looking for plenty of numbers, she says, looking over her shoulder in the direction of Mizuchi.
Oh yeah, no, we're gonna need lots of people.
Well, I'll have to talk it over with my commanding officers, but it's nice not being the only Lancer in this sector anymore.
Yeah, no, I've got a particularly bastard of a bandit group that I need to put in the ground, and I'm gonna need people for that.
Sounds like a fun time. You have to tell me about it. By the way, he pulls out a tablet and links it to one of the computers. Let me 1 second. Stick him over here. Plugs the tablet into one of the computers, into the comm relay, and says, it was Ma, Oni, and he points at Sparky and Valkyrie and says, what were your
Valkyrie.
Carlson? Valkyrie?
Sparky.
Sparky? All right. You see him tap it a couple times and send something. He goes, all right. Should just be a few more moments, and then you all in your mechs get notifications of requesting a license update.
I will update my license.
All right, yeah.
Oh.
Valkyrie very, very carefully, like as it's asking for the license update, reaches into her vest pocket and pulls that coin out and just kind of links it up to the computer system for a second.
Yeah,
And
you
puts
feel
it
it
back.
get warm for a second in your hand as you set it down. There's a slight bit of glowing on the filigree that's on the inside of the coin, and then it fades, and then it's cool to the touch again.
I think the IPSN interface is just like it's like
VHS in, VHS out.
well, no, it's not even that. It's like it's I don't know. It's like the Cowboy Bebop style, like rigged together bits of computer, and like you just have like a makeshift key that's like looks like it was once part of like a gas nozzle, but now it's been it's like the cord's been ripped off
Yeah.
and it's been turned into a key. Just slot it in, turn it.
Yeah, when you actually slot your key in, you do see some lighting slowly go up the bar for it, and then when the lighting starts ending at the far end and then goes up to the hilt, that's when you know that the license has been updated. It's the same for yours, Ma, since you're also using an IPSN, and then for Sparky,
I feel like the SSC licensing involves a lot of paperwork.
yeah. So
So Sparky's had a bunch of like application forms and such pre-written and saved to her slate, and then she just
Yep.
copies over the one that she wants at the time.
yeah, so yeah, there you have to flip open a few tabs on your data slate before you're able to actually update, and then you have to confirm that you want to update your license, and then you have to two-factor authenticate that it is you updating your license, and then
Authentication from Slate.
Meanwhile,
and from Nick.
the
Yep.
Harrison Armory license upgrade just requires you to commit a war crime.
yeah.
I was picturing Maul like with an old actual printed Sears and Roebuck catalog, like filling out a form, putting it in an envelope, licking a stamp.
Yeah, you.
Just like Valkyrie holds up the coin, and it like after a minute of buzzing, and then just the screen blanks for a second, and then just that fucking like corrupted text shows up. The congratulations, pilot, you have been chosen. Access is yours as long as you can keep it.
Yeah, no. As you pull the coin away, you just hear in the back, you just hear an access granted, and then just a slight bit of static, and then nothing.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Yeah, pretty much.
What is? Did this guy give us his call sign, or did we already know it?
He actually, if you didn't ask, but
Yeah, well,
He,
that's why
he introduced me by his name.
Maggie will say, "Oh, thanks, hon. It wasn't even our birthday. What should we call you, by the way?"
My name is Gaius, but my call sign is Envoy.
All right, Envoy. Well, nice to meet you. Would you prefer to go by call sign or
Call sign's fine.
guys? All right.
Meanwhile, I'm just standing in the in this area over here, keeping Overwatch and waiting for the call.
Yeah. Probably about halfway through. So were you guys beginning to print the pieces, or
I think we're probably going to proceed with trying to get them apart. That's what we. I realized I was interrupting William way back, but when we have a moment after this exchange, Sparky is in the middle of actually working on the retaining clamps. Is that right, Andrew?
Yeah, basically just making sure that these can in fact be lifted and moved.
Okay.
While still making sure they are in fact functional in case we want to print anything before the moving company arrives.
Is she still mounted, or is she out of her?
She is still mounted, I believe. Let me check. Larimar.
You would have to dismount to begin working on these, because I don't believe you have manipulators for
I do.
working. Oh, you do. Oh, yeah, that's right. You do.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot.
Yep. So I can
home.
basically
Go ahead.
just do all of this inside Larimar. Don't have to get out.
Yep.
It's comfy in here.
Homestead will walk over, sort of up, almost over Larimar's shoulder, and then the cockpit opens up, and Maggie will eject and say, "How's it going in there, hon? You want to keep up with them manipulator arms? I'll get out and crawl around on the surface, see if we can mix it up together."
Working on it. It's taking longer than I expected, but
Well, many hands make light work, especially when some are great big mech hands.
Sparky just holds up both of the Larimar's arms. Both giant-sized mech hands are empty and not actually working. And you can see that around Larimar's waist there are a couple of small, almost like mechadendrite style from 40k, but they do have actual hands on the end of them, and they are working in much the same manner as human hands do.
To be fair, I'm assuming you're meaning like the tube mechadendrites, like the metal snake style, because technically speaking, mechadendrite is a catch-all term for any kind of mechanical limb in 40k.
Huh. I have only ever known them as being referred to as the tube-like extensions.
Well, for instance, there are grasper mechadendrites, which are basically like the Tech Marines mechanical wrench arm that sits on their shoulder is considered a mechadendrite.
Huh. The joys of bludgeoning through bureaucracy in the 41st millennium.
Oh yeah.
Figuring out names for things.
But
we digress. Important thing is that Sparky is in fact using manipulator arms rather than actual mech hands.
They're Doc Ock arms with hands on the end.
Right. And Maggie's out just on the ground, but with her mag clamps, she can easily get up and down these things as need be. So with the two of us working together, are we able to start getting stuff disconnected?
Yeah. Go ahead and just since Hacker Picks will apply, go ahead and both of you roll me a d20 just to see how fast you're able to. 14, 17. Okay. So for a team of people, team of about generally, let's see, who has, no, you two have engineering backgrounds. Generally, a team for installing this, it would take the better part of 3 days to install it. With you two working on it together, it'll probably take about a week to get them disconnected and ready to move.
What are they attached to? Is it flooring?
Yeah.
How long will it take us to cut through the flooring?
Just
Do it
ripping the
the
fuck
IPSN
up.
way.
Oh yeah.
We'll
We'll finesse it once we
what do
get
you
him on
have?
the ship.
What do you have to cut through the flooring?
How long will it take the mech printer to print a mech-sized sawzall?
Mech-sized sawzall?
I can print a nanocarbon blade. That'll get through the floor real fucking quick.
There you go.
I have a power blade, so you know.
Yeah, we have weapons.
Yeah.
That was the technology.
I have a pair of chain axes. Just let me go at it.
Well, the flooring is more stone than metal.
All right, Jack. Then
yeah,
jackhammer time.
Yeah, it would probably be faster to just destroy the floor and lift it up, but then you'd have to move the earth that's underneath it that's still bolted to it as well.
No, you get it up, and then we knock off the bottom. I am mostly curious at this point. How does Sparking react to the suggestion that we just rip him out of the floor?
Well, first, she's a bit shocked, but you don't see that behind Larimer's canopy. But her response to that would be, well, it's unorthodox and it does have potential to cause considerable damage if we're not careful. But then she does produce her charge blade.
See, hon, there we go. We got it. There we are. All right.
We don't exactly have forever to get those things up, so we can worry about getting them installed on our ship when we've got all the time in the world.
Let's just get the power shut down to them so we don't get anything shorted if we cut through anything on the outside important, and you all have at it.
All right.
You need another pair of blades?
I've got some. I got some more things to do, unless you figure we need all four of us hacking away at the floor.
Oni, I have seen your blades in action, and I think they have the potential to do more harm than good here.
Well, don't we want to harm the floor?
Yeah, but we don't want to tear up any of the machinery that's between the floor and us. As Valkyrie says as she pulls out her charge blade.
I'll just keep an eye out for our invisible bastard then.
Can we shut them down all the way and then shut off power to them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys are able to shut them down, and
This is what we call.
go ahead and roll d20s.
This is what we call the.
This is going to be risky.
This is what we call the IPSN salvage operation right here.
Can I use stay cool here? To basically perform under pressure without, like, specifically trying to minimize damage to the printers.
Yeah, precision under pressure. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a dangerous situation.
Yep. I just before
Cool, because I
anybody
get
rolls,
+4 for that.
before anybody rolls, I just have to. I heard it, but I'm looking at the rule book right now. I just have to see the rules for risky.
For the record, that roll is an 8 before any difficulty is applied. I love it when my best skills do, like, roll incredibly low. Really makes my day.
It happens.
Okay, so yeah, the clear and obvious complications are if you mess this up, you could ruin one of the printers. So let's see.
I made enough success to counteract for the extent of Larimar's failure, if that matters.
Let's see.
Round it out to an even 20.
Okay. So let me check the rolls real quick.
Yeah, between the two rolls, that would average out to 10.
Yeah. So the thing is, you are able to, with the Reagan Leaf's assistance, you are able to start carving at the floor around. Let's see, which printer did you guys start on? Top or the top left or bottom right?
Probably top
Always.
left.
Yeah,
Top left. Okay.
one that's closer to the doors at least.
All right. So as you started off, you're cutting into the ground, and then Larimar, on one of your swings, you misjudged the distance, and your blade goes scrapes across the side and goes about 6 or so inches into the side of the printer before you're able to stop it, which is you're able to stop it fairly quickly. You didn't cleave through the bottom corner, but you did cause a bit of damage. And what weapon were you using, Valkyrie?
We were both using charge blades.
Both using charge blades. Okay. Yeah, you do the same thing, and you actually catch one of the consoles, Valkyrie. So you're able to get the area around it so that it can be lifted up, but this printer is now damaged.
We
in
can
two
fix
spots.
it later.
We have smaller printers to print the parts to fix the big printer.
Exactly.
I know an old woman who swallowed a fly.
So this one is ready? Question mark.
Lightly damaged.
Yeah,
Lightly used.
needs refurbishment.
It's all right. We can print out the pieces we need to. Why did she become Irish?
I don't know.
You turned into phage real quick
Yeah.
there.
We can print out the pieces that we'll need to get this fixed, probably.
Hope you're right.
You want to work on the second one as well? Because that'll require another roll.
It's not exactly much else to do here.
Maggie has been trying to find the access to the cable.
Damn.
Okay.
Roll very good. Oh, we're probably losing the second printer.
Come on.
Hey!
Two.
Valkyrie just like kicks the other one over.
Yeah, no. So Valkyrie, you step up to the second one, and yeah, no. So the thing is with risky, anything less than a 20 is still a failure, or it just takes longer, or it's a success, but you still suffer some consequences. With the 20, you miss all the important parts. You don't even scratch it, Sparky. You're extra careful. You're not doing long swings. You're doing short jabs and then dragging it as best you can, taking your time.
Yeah, this time Sparky's just like, Astra, plot the minimum safe distance around the printer, please.
Yep, and they do, and you begin following a AR projected
like a dotted line
of cut here, Valkyrie, on the other hand,
Valkyrie's like, I should have done that. Shink, damn it.
yeah, you look over to see when you're lifting up for one strike to see what's taking, because you're going faster than Valkyrie or than Sparky this time, and you look to see what's taking so long, and you slam down, and your blade is fully embedded into the side of this. So
Sparky just
fucking
stops. Valkyrie, what was that?
That was a slip of the hand. Fucking hell.
All right.
you watch as Valkyrie extricates their blade out of it.
Was it mostly through bulk chassis or?
It was, you were about, so for this one, you were about like right here, and the blade probably, let's see, I need to turn this so it doesn't snap. But from where you are, your blade probably went that far into it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a slight gash down the side, and then it just digs in farther.
One of these will take more time to repair than the other, is what we're saying.
Yes. Yes, they will.
Both of them can be repaired, though.
Mizuchi, shortly, or actually while these two are working on the second printer, you hear, sorry, brain fart. Lancer group, we've gathered our cargo haulers, waiting to receive your escort whenever you are.
All right. Two of us will be heading back momentarily. See you in a bit. And then over squad comes. All right, cargo haulers are ready.
All right.
We just finished cutting loose the second one, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and so just a reminder, it took you guys about 7 to 8 hours to get here, and then the short time, and then it took you, let's see, I'd say another 4 hours, so it would have been, you're 2 hours into cutting the second one out of the ground when that message comes through. So you guys have been up and on mission for about just under 10 hours at this point. Just so that you guys are aware of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, so two folks with AI. Have your AI pilot you back so you can get some shut-eye, and I'll hang back and help extricate the rest of this mess that you two have started.
I mean, I also have stims that'll keep me up if I need them, so...
I think that later part is the operative term here. If you don't need them, why use them?
Exactly. You got AI, go ahead and use them.
Well, now hold on. Are those stems that good shit?
I mean, I've got a dose of kick if I need to stay up, so...
You know that's not what I'm asking.
All
You staying up or you staying high?
Can we focus, please?
We've been out here a long day. I just want to know that Valkyrie is enjoying herself behind the wheel.
I will say that Umbra Draconis techs are very good at their chemical mixes. However,
two of you need to take our envoy and head back to escort the cargo haulers.
Yeah.
Yep. So before that call, though, Craig, go ahead and roll a d20. Hacker fix will apply for trying to open or trying to find the controls for the gates or for the cages.
12.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. You're able to access them.
Question.
All right.
Yes.
Would I be able to make it back to the city faster if I was flying? Because it took us 7 hours to
overheat
walk
yourself.
Here. I mean, yeah, but you can vent heat. You can stop and vent heat, but like, would it be faster to fly back to the city than to walk?
It would be safer. In general, it'd probably be a little bit faster because you wouldn't have to deal with the terrain. You just have to pick a landing spot to vent your heat, and then
because it's one heat per round, so it's just fly, land, vent, fly, land, vent. But
yeah, potentially.
Because that might be a reason for me to go back that way. But aside from that, I'm the only one that doesn't have a CompCon unit, I think. So if you have a CompCon that can just autopilot you back to the city while you sleep, that makes more sense.
I mean, if Ma and I want to head back, one CompCon can do the autopilot while someone else stays awake to actually watch out for threats that the CompCon won't be able to react too well to.
I could go back as well with you, and whichever one of you has room. And
I've got plenty of extra room.
Yeah, if you both want to catch some shut-eye on the way back, I've literally been doing nothing the past 4 days other than staring at bars and rock. So I've had plenty of sleep.
Well, Sparky, you're the one who's got the CompCon already set up to cut the rest of this thing loose, so.
I can go back. I think Valkyrie's the one out of the two of us with extra space. You'd be sitting on my lap if you ride with me.
All right, then.
Valkyrie's
all right
hatch
to
opens,
which?
So.
Starts walking over to Valkyrie.
Okay, you two.
Actually, he hasn't seen. Yeah, no, he hasn't. But yeah, no, that's the one he knows has room. And you just said you didn't have room. So.
But technically, what I said was you'd be riding on my lap if you ride with me.
Yeah, he doesn't know you that well yet.
The hatch for the Regan Leaf opens.
All right, he'll begin climbing up.
Before this happens, so I can get the cages open.
Yeah. Yep,
okay.
You can get the cages open.
Can I fix the one that jammed?
Yeah, you can tell that on your end, you're just seeing that button that got jammed in. It for the access code. It's literally just the button got stuck, so it keeps putting that one input in over and over and over again.
Okay.
And you're able to reset it from there, and it's unlocked. Hasn't opened, but it is unlocked.
Can I do them remotely now that I have access?
Yeah, you can remotely unlock.
Weren't you wanting to not do that just in case they started eating the tor drinks?
No, but I want the capacity to do it. Okay. So I want to have it on the...
From here, you can actually tell that each of the cages is transportable as well.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, we have a spare cargo holding the ship, right?
Yeah.
We should probably not poach the animals of this planet.
It's the thing. We're not going to poach the ones from here. We'll let the ones from this planet go when we get outside.
They're all from here.
No, they're not. Some of them were shipped in. Right? Isn't that what I'm assuming that from the crates?
Yeah, a few of the dead ones that you've seen, a few of the dead creatures in the cages, you do recognize from Off-World, just from vids that you've watched on the OmniNet.
And also, and those 3 that you specifically called out, the one that looked like a rhino medillo,
Yeah.
Rhino Medilla.
Um,
Medilla Rhino.
I'm a rhino.
Yeah. I'm a rhino. I'm a rhino.
I'm a rhino, guys.
that funky. I'm a rhino.
Whee!
And the that first sort of the crocodile or
Yeah.
whatever that one was, and
Porky
then the
boar.
yeah,
Porky boar.
and then the other one, the one that she said looked like a skink hound.
Yeah.
But yeah, she'll go back then, and sort of now that she has the access codes and the ability to get these out of here potentially on the transports, she'll go back though and check and see on that one, the one that was the rumbling one.
Looks to be just resting, laying down.
Okay.
Kind of like how caged animals will do if there's nothing to do. They're just kind of depressed mood, just laying down, waiting for something to happen.
I'll go back and get its attention. Hey there, how you doing? Remember me?
The head slightly moves in your direction. Doesn't get up or anything.
Is the other piece of meat still in there? Like it hasn't
Yeah.
eaten it yet? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here. Let's see how you like this, and I'll hit the release button. Remember,
Okay.
we had a deal, no face eating.
So you're out of your mech.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Door pops open, and it immediately stands at its full height, which imagine a Great Dane standing on its hind legs with also very large cartilage-like antlers. And it kind of twists halfway, grabs the roof, and begins crawling, climbs out of the cage, and just goes up into the corner of the roof. And just go ahead and make a d20 roll.
Okay.
If you have spot or anything like that, that'll help.
No, just
As you see its outer skin begin to shift in color as it crawls up.
17.
You're able to follow it though.
Okay.
You watch it just go hide up in the corner. It doesn't go in a corner, but just where the wall meets the roof, and it kind of just starts hanging there.
She looks at. Oh, we're
Flicks,
gonna have to.
Flicks its tongue out a few times.
We're gonna have to put a bell on you. Come on down here. Come on. Come on.
Go ahead and make a charm roll.
I would like to note that while this is all going on, people are actually leaving this facility.
I think.
Sparky.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sparky has in fact directed Astra to cut along a dotted line, and she's hit the recline on her chair and is out like a light.
I had assumed this was going on probably during the 7 hours of the original, like cutting through the first.
Yeah, this is happening.
Right.
This is happening before you got the call that the cargo haulers are on their way, or are ready to be on their way. A 6.
Yeah. Like Andrew said, always great when your best skill rolls super low. I got a 2 on the D20.
So yeah,
6.
you kind of you hold up the meat a little bit and you kind of toss it up a few times and you're like, hey, come here, and then one of the times you toss it up, that same tongue, that second tongue, lashes out a good 25 feet, snatches that meat out of the air, and then goes right back into that darkened corner.
Congratulations,
So you know
Maul.
it's still there and it's not leaving, but it's also not coming down yet.
Congratulations, you have let loose an invisible predator that will try to eat those of us that are staying behind.
Oh, he's just shy. Come on. But I can't. Spending more time with it, I can't really re-roll that, right?
It'll be a bit more time before you're able to make another roll to influence it some more.
Unless anybody needs help, she probably will stay up. She will feed the others that don't have any food, just from the drake carcasses.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Just sort of at least try to get it used to to her presence?
A handful of the creatures don't touch the meat. But other than that, like the valley prowlers, they just absolutely engorge themselves on whatever you put in there, and then curl up in the back corner away from the door of the cage, face the cage door, and then lay down.
Are any of the other any of the ones that don't seem to be eating? Is there any stock of grains or grasses or anything that I can see anywhere?
Not.
I don't think
vicinity.
these guys were, really taking care of them, but
yeah,
just curiosity.
No, and the ones that aren't touching the meat, well, don't know if they look thin or if they're just already lanky creatures. But a handful of them do appear gaunt-ish.
Okay.
No, they haven't been feeding their herbivores well.
Yeah. Are they? Are those ones? What do those ones look like? Do they look dangerous and aggressive?
No, they look. One of them looks like a large salamander type creature, with no scales, but kind of a leathery hide that folds up a little bit. One of the other ones looks a bit like, I guess you could say, a large spider crab type creature. And then the other one, another handful of them look like, let's see, hard to describe them. Crap, where's the picture I had for them? Oh, so they have beaked features on the front and a large plate that kind of reaches over the back of their neck and curves slightly. But they have light colored fur and stripes down the neck and shoulders that kind of taper off into just like towards the small of the top of the back, like a triangle towards the back, and don't appear to be aggressive or hostile or anything like that.
Okay. Is there any way I can get any kind of record of what creatures are native to this planet? Which of those are native herbivores?
Yeah, you would have to honestly wait for the biologist to arrive.
Okay.
Right. Or you could try to communicate with them and figure out if they have a list.
You're going to be walking back with them anyways, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just figured I could let them loose already. Can we? I know we were joking ahead of time before the session about how much time we would take to get anywhere, so this doesn't turn into like Maul Crocodile Hunter. Can we say that Maul makes a quick call and describes them and tries to figure out which ones are native?
So yeah, the herbivores are native.
Okay.
It just looks like they weren't being fed. The valley prowlers, are native, and the Amarinos are native as well.
All right, great.
They're just they're actually from a different continent on this planet.
Okay.
Native, but this is not their habitat.
Your Camellia lizard is not native.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Camellia lizard is not.
Did the Amarino eat the meat, or is it also an herbivore?
It did eat the meat.
Okay, cool. The scariest of all rhinos.
I'm a scary rhino.
All right, so over group comms, Maul says, "All right, so I'm gonna let out some of these local fellas and let them get up to get to grazing again."
Okay, so long as they don't try to hurt me.
Well, try not to look too tasty like a piece of grass.
I'll do my very best.
And also, they start to stampede. You get out of the way. We may have to mill them. It's all right. I'll walk you through it. All right, opening gates. And she'll open up the gates to the ones that are local, or at least in close to their native habitat herbivores.
Okay, so yeah, as soon as those ones open, they kind of take some tentative steps out, and then most of them bolt. Let's see, 1 second.
I'll make sure that the ramp is open first.
Okay, yeah. So
you don't let the
handful of them
horses out of the stall doors before the barn's open.
Yeah. So a handful of them bolt straight out, but a couple of them do get lost and mixed in between the tor drakes while they're running, and end up in the small hangar bay before you have to shoo them out the right way. But all the herbivores do make it out.
I would very much like to imagine that in the anime that the show is, the camera at this point is entirely focused on the hijinks going on in the hangar when Sparky and Valkyrie are slicing to pieces the printers, and you just see through the doorway and the windows in the background Maul running around and herding animals.
Yeah.
Far away in the background.
And just like Oni like flying over them.
Yeah. While they're undoing or working on the printers, this door is left open, and at one point you do see Ma chasing one of the larger herbivores, like just straight up chasing it. No, not that way, and herding it back the other way.
But eventually,
funny enough, the Camellia lizard has not moved from where you left it.
I will close the cage door on it when I'm running around and chasing all the herbivores, but
yeah,
come back on it. Okay, and then so they're loose and everybody else is fed, and I have taken up like 45 minutes of our game, so I apologize. Let's move on.
Yep. All right. So you guys begin your track. You're easy enough able to actually. Who's going back?
Valkyrie and Maw, I'm assuming.
And Envoy.
And Envoy. Yep.
Envoy going
so go ahead and roll a d20.
Yeah. Anything apply?
Nope.
All right. Oh, you got it.
Where they get mopped up.
All right. You do. Yep. You are able to not run into any of the local fauna.
Valkyrie does take a dose of kick to stay awake.
Okay.
While they're gone and Sparky is sleeping, I dismount from my mech and I begin basically, in order to stay awake, the tried and true method of exercise. So, like, if at any point Sparky wakes up, there's just, like, might just see, like, because there are, like, roll bars attached to the various points on Mizuchi. Like, you'll just see Oni, like, legs locked into the roll bar doing upside-down sit-ups and crunches, like, from the roll bars and things. Just working up a good sweat.
Yeah, like Valkyrie's stims are like built into her, so anytime she doesn't have them equipped, it's just she doesn't have anything in them at the moment. But like when she takes her dose of kick, it's literally just like there's a hissing noise from like around her neck, and her jaw just kind of tightens there for a second, and then she's fully awake.
All right.
Maul has turned control over to Doodlebug, and she is immediately asleep.
All right.
Yeah, Sparky is definitely the type that learns to sleep when you can.
I do like that Valkyrie and Oni are both like that sort of super soldier stereotype, but where where Valkyrie has built-in stims and things to keep her awake, Oni just has discipline and just like exercise and maintaining focus.
I mean, Valkyrie does as well, but the thing that you'll learn about Umbra Draconis, if you learn anything more from her, is that they had nothing on their hands but stuff to make artificial humans.
No, I'm just talking about the two different approaches to the same concept is really fun and funny.
Like she's got the level of discipline where if she really needed to, she could just exercise to stay awake. But when she can't, like for instance, she's piloting a mech, her body is built to do this stuff.
All right, 1 second. That's not what I wanted to do.
It's sort of the difference between
All right.
It's sort of the difference between in 40K, the difference between orcs and space marines, where it's like they are both built to the same purpose, but one's all natural and the other's heavily modified.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess in this comparison, Oni is an orc.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes you about 7 hours to get back to the Lapran metropolis.
Not even halfway through the recommended awake time on a dose of kick, considering it says it can keep me awake and alert for up to 30 hours.
Yeah, you definitely committed.
I'm gonna crash as soon as that 30 hours is up, but you know.
Yep.
That's enough time
That's
to
gonna
get there, get back, load things up, get back to the ship.
Yeah.
And you begin. You link up with the cargo haulers, and they're basically like the large, not quite as slow, but the the spaceship haulers, like the space shuttle haulers, where they're super large, just the platforms, not quite that large, so they can go a little bit faster. But you link up with them and begin the trek back, keeping an eye out for fauna. Envoy actually gets off and stays behind to go to his ship and fill the Undaran military on what happened to him, basically to debrief.
Once Sparky gets up,
You guys
I will
back at
pass
the pirate
out.
base. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, she basically she sleeps for roughly 8 hours, and then there's a tiny alarm in Larimar's cockpit, and she is awake instantly.
All right. It's about that.
Sleep when you can, wake up in a heartbeat.
Yep. And probably about an hour or so after, you get the message from, well, depending on if you guys announce that you're on your way back.
Actually, if they take 7 hours to get there and regroup, then yeah, you probably actually wake her up before the 8 hours, but that's fine.
I don't know, like, he will give you all the sleep you need, because he can go up to 24 hours before he needs to pass out.
Oh no, I was thinking more of the Valkyrie and Moore, since they are the ones regrouping with the.
Do you guys send,
Yeah, it
do you
probably
guys send us a message back?
Yeah, it depends. It depends on if you guys do or when.
I think Valkyrie would send a message when they were like halfway back, to be like, "We'll be there in a few hours."
Okay, so then you haven't gotten anything yet.
All right.
Maul would alert when they arrive there, because I think The instructions that she gave to Doodlebug were to navigate to those coordinates and then sound an alarm, so she would wake up at that point.
Okay.
So at that point, yeah, she would radio back just to let them know that they arrived safely.
I would.
Alright.
And then, yeah, after Sparky wakes up, I'd get... Oni would get about 6 hours of sleep, and then before he's back up and ready to go.
Okay.
How long do the stims last?
30 hours for kick.
Okay, so you're... Valkyrie, you want me to take over? Or you still good?
I'll be up for the next 23 hours, but then I'm going to pass out immediately and probably sleep for 10.
All right. Well, I guess I'll take my watch 23 hours from now. I'm gonna get a little more shut eye. She goes back to sleep. She will set Doodlebug to sound alarm if there are any unknown things that show up on scanners, and otherwise to simply follow along behind Regan Leaf.
What is the homestead's sensor range is 10? Okay. All right.
Valkyrie will wake her up before probably before the sensors on the Doodlebug do.
Yeah, probably, but just as a precaution. And I also want to be clear, it's anything, essentially, she would set it for anything size 1 or bigger.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Go ahead and roll another D20. One of you two.
That's me, because I'm the one.
Probably the one who's awake.
Great.
Right.
Yikes.
It's nice of going
Oh
great.
boy.
All right. 1 second.
Join us next week when we actually change our overlays to match.
We got another hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah. No. Go ahead and.
We got another hour and 15 minutes. Half of that's going to be Ma talking to the animals, and then...
I'm going to need at least an entire session.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll another D20.
Anything apply to this one?
If you have anything that will help you, do you have spot?
I have survive, if that matters, because we're in a wilderness environment.
Yeah, I'll say that'll help.
Wow, yeah, I'm rolling great today.
So yeah, you.
That's a 7.
Because we're not in
You
combat
notice-
and I'm not rolling, so all the bad rolls are going to other people.
So, it's not until your
Until my sensors pick it up.
until your sensors pick it up, and the sensors on.
We have the
yeah.
same sensors.
Yeah, same sensors. You pick some fuzzy readings on the edges of your sensors, but then you notice that they're on all edges of your sensors. There's multiple. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you actually stop and look, and you see about 6 not full grown valley prowlers slowly circling and stalking as the cargo treaders are moving forwards, but they seem to be intent on you and the homestead right now.
So Valkyrie immediately puts up the halt command and just doesn't even hesitate and just opens fire on one of the small ones with the cyclone. Because if one of them immediately gets obliterated, the other ones will probably run.
Yeah, go ahead and roll an attack.
See if you hit.
They do have soft cover.
That's fine because the cyclone pulse rifle is accurate.
Oh, accurate and difficulty cancel out.
Yep. No accuracy.
1d20 plus 2? Or what
Are we at
1d20 plus 1?
Is it half rounded up or half rounded down?
Half rounded down, I believe. Could be wrong though.
Hang on.
Yeah,
License
it's plus
level.
it's +1. The attack bonus is still
Yeah,
+1.
okay.
12.
Yeah, that hits.
Hang on, I have to pull up my my other mech. Because I'm technically still piloting the
The
Sigrid.
Mizzou.
So it's super heavy is 3d6 plus 3 damage. Eight 15 damage.
Ow.
Jesus, yeah. You put up the halt command, and in that same fluid motion, you reach over, pull the Cyclone heavy rifle off your back, flip it over, grab it, and then just unload on a patch of where one of your sensors is picking these up. Ma, you're awoken by gunfire.
Immediately over comms. I'm up. What's going on?
It's like that scene from Predator where you just mow down all the vegetation and in a cone, and there's some dust and smoke, and once it all settles, there is a dead valley prowler about 10 meters away from one of the cargo haulers.
Does that send the other ones running?
Oh yeah, you don't hear and you don't see anything on your sensors anymore because it was also loud.
So yeah, Valkyrie just mows it down and then immediately reloads the gun and puts it back.
All right.
Good work. You really got that. That's real.
And she gives the signal to keep moving and then continues on.
Yeah, funny thing is when you put the halt command up, the homestead kept walking because it was
It was set to follow me. Yeah.
yeah, it was set to
Like follow the path back.
yeah.
And specifically following the Reagan leaf. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
If the Reagan leaf keeps moving, it keeps following the Reagan leaf.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, so after that, you guys are able to make it back. You two back at the base, just been sleeping, working.
I would be awake
Any
at this
repairs
point, so.
you wanted to do would have been time enough for you to at least get started on some of those.
Yeah. While Oni.
Some of you were banged up.
Oh, I was thinking more about the printers.
I'm
Yeah,
fine.
that as well. You
Yeah.
can,
While Oni was sleeping, Sparky would absolutely have been looking for materials and tools to use to do her best to fix up the printers on her own.
I mean, you have smaller grade printers and enough scrap metal to feed into them, so.
True.
Um,
But I do also need to figure out like what parts have been broken, how best
Yeah.
to fix them, all that
Yeah.
fun stuff.
yeah, I
Go ahead
don't.
and-
I have thermite charges, so I don't know if that'd be useful.
not for fixing.
No.
No.
Go ahead and roll another hacker fix.
Yeah, hack or fix makes sense. Yeah. I was just looking at my other skills.
This is not a character that fixes things.
Aha, 12.
12. All right. So you are not familiar with putting together printers, but you're able to use the OmniNet connection that these. These ones don't have an OmniNet connection.
I have an OmniHook.
Oh yeah, you have an OmniHook. So you use your OmniHook to connect to the OmniNet, and you're able to find the blueprint for this particular model of printers, and figure out the general area of what's been damaged, what parts need to be fixed, and you begin getting the files that you'll need to print off these parts and in what order you'll need to install them, as well as the housing that was damaged by the blades as well. So,
All right.
I would have while Sparky is after I wake up and while Sparky is like doing some things, I go ahead and busy myself with knocking off as much of the floor that is attached to the thing as possible. Not trying to carve things out, but like here's bits of the floor that's still attached, just with the mech grab, push down, breaking them off by hand rather than using dangerous weapons.
Okay. So yeah, you're able to grab it, and instead of like pushing down and instead of pushing and pulling, you more grasp and crumble
Yeah,
what's
basically.
there,
Yeah.
so you don't break anything. All right. You're able to clean up the edges a little bit. There's still stone and
Yeah, I'm not gonna be
bits of the
not gonna be able to
the
get it fully
foundation
clean, but
underneath.
I'm just trying to get it so it's gonna be easier to get it into the
Yeah.
cargo haulers when they get here.
Yeah.
We'll fully clean
Yeah.
them up once they're on the ship.
So with
Yes, we'll have-
also with your
Yeah, I've got the synthetic muscle fiber too on this thing, so I'm probably the best at just grabbing and crushing stone right now.
with your repair, well, with the beginnings of your repairs, Sparky, you and all the pieces that are damaged, especially in the second one that you guys brought out. The first printer is probably going to take anywhere between 1 to 2 days to fix. The second one probably going to take closer to 2 weeks.
Yeah, Sparky would focus her efforts on the printer that has been less badly damaged.
Dinged instead of actually damaged.
Yeah, dinged instead of had a charged blade put through part of it.
Does
Yeah.
the one that's dinged, would it still be viable for work? Would it still work in its condition right now?
You'd have to boot it up to see.
I didn't know Sparky would be able to tell that during the repairs or not.
Oh,
Actually, yeah, can I like run diagnostics on it or something?
yeah. With that roll, it would be a bit slower. It wouldn't be as optimized. There'd be a small chance for it to fail mid-print, but you could possibly begin printing a mech out of this.
Because I assume the second one, there's no way.
None of
it'd be able to start,
none of these super important necessary parts have been, like the absolutely necessary parts have been damaged beyond use. It more of looks like a couple of the redundant systems.
Yeah, like secondary and tertiary
Yeah.
subsystems, etc.
Yeah. Things for finer detail.
So it'll print IPS in mechs just fine. Everything else is going to have a problem.
I mean, that might be true, but it would probably be best to just make sure that, I don't know, a cooling rod doesn't fall out at an inopportune time.
I mean, if they're Harrison Armory, the cooling rods fall out when you want them to fall out. Nuclear Cavalier is a good talent.
All right,
You
so
get to
you can
inject
begin
your
getting
fuel
started
rods as
on that.
weapons.
I'll say, so if you put down 48 hours for repair for the first mech printer, if you want to begin repairs on that, depending on how long you want to work on that, or if you want to start printing something, by the time they get back, you'll be down to 41.
Yeah, Sparky would definitely inform Oni that she doesn't entirely trust the printer's functionality. I have not done an ideal repair. It's a repair job. It's probably not an ideal one, but the printer is functional.
No worries. We'll make sure
I
we
would
get both these things up and running before we hit our next mission.
Yes, that would be ideal. Rather than trust to luck and try printing something in its current condition, I would prefer to.
I mean, Valkyrie's not there, but her recommendation would be you can get one of them fully repaired and start printing while you're working on the second one.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So start fixing the one that is least broken.
Okay.
7
Yeah.
hours off on that one, and
7 hours off on that one.
the group get here.
Yep. At any point, you take a look at the data that you grabbed off of the computers, or do you wait for the rest of the group?
Yeah, Sparky would wait for the rest of the group to get back. And
Okay.
maybe once we're off planet.
Okay. All right. 7 hours rolls by. Cargo haulers show up. They park in the well. Actually,
Would they just lay down a ramp and come in the shuttle bay?
yeah, they'd go down.
Yeah, I would direct them towards the hangar.
Well, that's the thing. That hangar is mostly a vertical shaft.
Oh, is it?
Because this was down in a plateau. This was a hidden base. They don't want to. They didn't want. So I mean, there is a ramp over in the top right, the one that Maul let all the
we'll carry them
animals out in.
We'll carry them out the front door. We'll let them park at the front door, and we'll carry them out to them.
You're loading space trucks.
Basically, yeah.
We're moving.
We can't carry these things all the way back to our ship. We can probably carry them out of the base.
Yeah, and it'll take all 4 of you to move one printer at a time. So
that makes sense.
Even with my
even with
it's more of a bulk thing than it is.
It's more cumbersome than it is. It's easy. It's easier for you to you're not straining under lifting something this large or anything like that. But yeah,
we're trying not to drop these things and have them break further.
So basically, I get one end, and the 3 of you get the other end. For stability.
But yeah. So it takes you, let's see, about an hour to get them moved and loaded onto the cargo haulers. And another 7 hours to get back.
15 hours. I'm officially halfway through my dose of kick when we get back.
And yeah, it'll take you about, let's see. Yeah, it'll only take you about another hour to get them loaded onto your ship. And
where we can spend the weeks repairing and installing them properly and getting all the stone out of our ship.
Yeah. So yeah, you have them loaded. Is there anything you wanted to do before you guys left the pirate base?
Get a hold of our envoy and see what his plans are. Oh, sorry, before we left the pirate base. Sorry.
Yeah, before you left the pirate base, because at least one of you has some business here still.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back. Are the biologists here now?
Yeah, they actually they drove out before you passed them on the way to Laprin. They were in basically the equivalent of just rovers. Heavily armored rovers because Valley Prowlers, but they zipped past you guys, headed towards the coordinates that you gave them.
Do we have space to load up the other crates?
Yeah.
Okay.
All
right.
Also, before we leave, just over to Sparky. Hey, Sparky, did you get anything off those computers that might be relevant before we leave?
I haven't actually looked at it yet.
Just give it a quick scan. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give it the once over.
Because if the computer suddenly says, "Oh look, there's a cache of gold bars in one corner that we've hidden secretly away," good to know now.
It's like a Fallout style note.
Yeah.
Like
the code.
Hey, Clack! Don't forget to look and find the extra caps that we hid in the corner.
And because you're so stupid, here's the code.
Exactly.
Can't believe I have to keep telling you the damn code.
Keep writing it down. Remember, folks, if you write down your passwords, no matter where you have it stored, they are inherently no longer secure.
So yeah. What? Let me look at. I don't really know if I have any particular triggers that help here.
No, you've already gathered the data. And
Oh yeah, but I'm just trying
not-
to like analyze it now.
yeah, funny enough, this data for whatever reason is not encrypted.
Oh well then.
They're pirates, not cyber specialists.
They're pirates,
At least
not
this
hackers.
group wasn't. Yeah.
I think that at least has some manner of security on it, but
The security was
yeah,
it was
with
in a
your-
hidden base.
Yeah, and they were honestly planning on it not being recovered. Their wipes weren't as fast as they thought they were. The small bit of information that you're able to gather from that is coordinates for a planet where a small Tovalan fleet is apparently orbiting over a planet known as Sanctum Nova.
one moment. I'm just copying this down. Sorry, what fleet?
Tovalan. I'm putting it into
Yes, thank you.
chat
These
right
names are weird.
yes.
So yeah, Sparky will read over the fragments that she's got and then get back on the comms to Oni. It says here that a Tovalan fleet, if that means anything to you, is in orbit over the planet Sanctum Nova. We have coordinates.
Do any of those proper nouns mean anything to me?
No.
Nope.
Nope. Sanctum Nova. No.
Doesn't mean, doesn't mean
Actually,
anything to me.
go ahead and roll.
It does.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead and roll a d20. I don't think you have any triggers that apply.
No, probably not. 11.
Could have swore maybe a year or so before everything or before the SMC was destroyed. Some people wanted to contract you, and it might have been that name. It sounds vaguely familiar, but it could have been
Nova?
no Toval or Tovalan. That's the only thing that maybe.
Yeah. Nothing concrete coming to my mind, and I'll open the channel to Maw and Valkyrie. Hey, does Toval or the Tovalan fleet or Sanctum Nova mean anything to you two?
Any of us have anything that applies?
Does it?
No.
Not to me.
I ain't never heard it before.
I feel like I've heard the name before, like in a contract a few years back. I have to look it up when we get back to the ship. But you got coordinates to it.
Seems like it
sounds
might
good.
be easier to do with extra resources. That's for sure.
Well, anyways, let's get all this loaded up and get out.
All right. Ma, is there anything you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, she's gonna load up the cages. I'm gonna, if I can, I'm gonna try one more with my chameleon buddy.
All right.
Or would-be buddy.
Yeah. Takes you a few moments.
Chameleon nemesis.
Takes you a few minutes actually, but you're able to spot him. He has moved. He's actually takes a little bit of looking around, but they're near the cooling station where the water is.
Okay. I'll go over and again, I guess close the door behind me, into the close the bay behind me, and again go over and try to see if I can get him to come down. All right, pal. We're gonna do this one of two ways. You're coming out of here. Nobody's leaving you behind. We can do it two ways. You can come on with me. You can curl up, be nice and cozy inside the homestead, or you can be stuck in one of these cages as you do it. So come on. I know you're gonna pick the smart one. Come on down.
Invite a carnivorous animal inside the cockpit with you.
That's a bold strategy, Carlton.
See if it plays out.
What happened to Ma? Well, she got mauled by an animal that was brought into her cockpit. It was weird.
That's
Oh,
what
now
Maul
I get the
means.
name.
No. More changes her call sign to Maul.
I mean, okay, two things spring to mind. One, she has previously expressed that this is all she considers these latter years of her life all just gravy, and so that doesn't seem like a particular concern. And two, she is missing a leg. So
She doesn't.
There happens to
Just
what being said is that there happens to be a pattern.
I got another 6.
All right, 1 second.
Would the DC be any lower for the ranching background potentially?
Yeah, there is some things I'm taking into account.
He's always 10 though.
Let's see. Just
I mean, not to argue against myself, but I think the ranching background is the reason I get to use charm for this in the first place.
yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love for you to say, no, it all works great, but that's a pretty crummy roll.
So how are you trying to, besides just talking to it,
Oh,
how are you trying to charm it down?
She has the she does have a couple more cuts of meat. She'll confer with the biologist and make sure she's taking what is essentially to them just scrap meat, so she's not taking useful samples, but she'll take things and any kind of positive interest. She's trying to do positive reinforcement. Any kind of positive interest or response that she's getting from it, she will toss food towards it.
Ma's like, the latter years of my life are just gravy, and then she gets eaten by a panther, and then we flash clone her back, and it's like, by the way, that doesn't work that way.
So yeah, you're with actually with the help of one of the biologists, because they don't want a non-native creature left on the planet as well, as much as they would like to study it. They, talking with them a little bit, they suggest that maybe you try to match the frequency through your comms. If this thing was subsonically or doing the low hum, that might help. But it doesn't appear to be interested in the meat. But you actually lose sight of it when you look back at the biologist and be like, all right, so what now? And then you look up and it's gone.
Oh, hell. All right, well, let's see if we can lure this damn thing back into the cage. I guess we put a bunch of the meat back in the cage and then wait and try to trap it again. Because at this point, she doesn't want to delay everything. She's just going to take it back up to the ship in the cage.
Yeah. Everybody else go ahead and make a spot check. If you have spot.
It's not going to work that way.
If we don't, is it just a regular D20?
Yeah, if you don't, it's just a regular D20.
This is great rolling tonight.
Okay, so Oni,
10.
you're the only one that notices. Towards on the back of the homestead, you see a pair of cartilaginous antlers hanging down as this creature, whatever it is, you see a vague outline of it just hugging the back of the homestead while she's still broadcasting that subsonic.
Over my comms, Maul, you've got a hitchhiker.
Oh, look, bless her heart. She knows her home.
I don't think that's how that works.
Oh, hush, you let me have this.
I mean, I'm not going to blow it off your mech, but...
No, I mean, you let me have this moment, Oni. You know what I meant. So she will... Can we get it back into the crate now that we've located it?
It's attached to your mech. Just walk out with
it.
Well, sure. That's like saying, "Oh, the bird's on your shoulder. Now just walk outside. You've got it. It's under control."
How it works with parrots.
Not if their wings aren't clipped.
But yeah, I'll say that through knowing that it's on your back, you're able to gently coax it off of, and you're able to keep it held in place because you're still in a 15. You're in a large mech, and basically holding a puppy now. So you're able to put it back in its cage and load it. And you guys get back on your way.
We will, when we get back out into the plains, she'll release the prowlers.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'll say that I could have hooked that up to hooked it up to Homestead for a remote.
Yeah.
And as you guys look back, you see a river of valley prowlers of varying sizes just run out of this ramp and into the large foliage, and you see the foliage ruffle and all that stuff, and then eventually it just all calms back down.
I wonder if that's what was stirring them up in the first place and making them attack.
Could well be.
But your poacher, poachers coming out stealing your people, and you attack any mech that walks by.
Might be. They may just be ornery and try to eat anything that walks by too, but
I think they're probably smart enough to know that they can't eat this, as gesturing to the mech.
Or they can, and that's kind of the point.
Oh, that's disturbing.
Get the biologist on the comms. Can those things eat metal?
No, but much like the ancient back on Cradle, I've read reports of they used to be called sharks that would eat metallic objects anyways, and kind of they've tried to eat it, they just don't digest it.
Good to know.
Plus sometimes there's a chewy center.
Yeah. That's
They are not getting to the center of this Tootsie Pop.
1, 2, 3.
1 to 2 to 3.
1, 2, chain X's.
5 is right out.
Yep. All right, you guys make it back to your ship.
5, reset, 3.
Load up the mech printers, and
then contact Envoy.
Yep, and then contact Envoy. Sorry, I forgot what you said.
No, I was just seeing what his plans are.
Oh, this is, well, I think it'd actually be better if I joined you. I'm down a mech, and a Lancer without a mech is a person, basically. So I'm going to join up with you guys and load my mech up on your guys' transport, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yep, by all means.
We're heading out to another job for the Andaran.
Actually,
for the Andaran Council, anyways. So.
Yeah, they mentioned that. the scouts still haven't reported. I don't think they've made it out of their jump yet. The place that they were looking, the Vanima system that they were looking at, was about a 2-week jump. Should be getting news back within a few days, though, sometime next week.
I'll sit here and repair then while we wait.
All right. Which ship is yours? What docking are you at?
Give him the coordinates.
Valkyrie will chime in with our docking bay.
All right. Okay. All right. He flies over, and he's actually in a scout ship that's just big enough for one mech that is actually able to dock on the top of your guys's mech as like a shuttle.
Yep.
Or your guys' ship as a shuttle.
Oh, hey. If you feel like joining us, the Bifrost could have a scout ship.
Could not hear a
You're
word
muted,
you just
buddy.
said.
He's muted.
I was talking to somebody else.
Okay.
Mm.
Speaking of the Bifrost, we still need to come up with a proper name for our company. Because if we're going to be doing jobs, we need to have a name, and we can't just keep jumping back and forth between the Dragon Raiders, the Sanamaru Mercenary Corps, and the two schmucks that got tagged along. No offense.
3, Valkyrie says, indicating envoy.
My old crew used to go by the Devourers.
Is that where the call sign comes from?
Yep.
Well, I am looking to reestablish the Sanamaru Mercenary Corps at some point in time, just so you are all fully aware of that.
Well, how about we keep all these critters as mascots and call ourselves a menagerie?
That sounds a little too close to the name of my last unit, which I don't really know why, but we were called the display case.
That's weird.
That almost sounds like an insult, and I'm sorry.
Well, I suppose you can take it up with Showcase if we ever meet him again.
How about
That's great.
we combine the two names we already have into something cool? Like
Maloney?
the Dragon Raider division of the Sanamaru Mercenary Corps.
See, that implies that you've just subsumed the Dragon Raiders, and that's going to be a problem with
Well,
me.
are there any more of them than you?
I don't know, and that's part of the issue.
The joint collaborative unit of the Dragon Raiders and Sanamaru Mercenary Corps.
That's
Rolls
a very
right
long
off the
name.
tongue.
The DRSMC.
Sure, that works.
Sort of like pointing at Ma and Sparky to see what they think.
I mean, sure, if you want to sound like you're dropping out on a corporate squad.
I mean,
I'm just saying, if we're gonna go by a set of, we're gonna go by an abbreviation. At least let it spell something cool.
begins thinking about how
Maybe it needs another word to go with it.
Thinking, like leans back in whatever chair he's currently sitting in because he's definitely not standing for this conversation. Thinking about different words. Got any suggestions, Sparky?
It's difficult. There isn't much beyond our shared interests that really unite us. We are a rather irregular group, aren't we?
That works.
The DRSMC Irregulars.
Sparky flinches. That wasn't what I was thinking of at all.
How
But-
about just the irregulars then?
I mean, that'd be the shorthand, yeah.
If it works for everyone else, that's fine by me.
I'll run it through Diamir.
Oh, what they think your group should be called?
Well, no, it's like apply this to our ship name and things. So like,
Yeah, apply to, yeah.
Yeah.
so we would be
Established Lancer Corporation.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what I'll be doing in my downtime. My downtime activity is going to be. Hang on, let me pull it up real quick.
Yeah, there's a specific one for like starting an organization. I think
Yeah.
it's get organized, literally.
Yes, I think I'm gonna get organized
Yep, it is get organized.
for my downtime.
right.
Organization type, military. Organization name, the DR SMC Irregulars. Purpose, goal, organization details, Lancer, mercenary. Do we want to start with influence or efficiency? I think right now we're mostly just efficient, not very influential.
Yeah.
Yeah, haven't really made a name for yourself quite yet.
Efficiency can be used to perform activities related with your organization's purpose. You can use these advantages as reserves.
So yep, you guys have about a week and a half of downtime before you hear any news of from the scouts sent to the other planet.
About, let's see how long.
Can we be printing mechs?
14,
Yeah, so you guys will be able to print the mechs. It'll take the supplies that the Andarans gave you to it'll take all the supplies that the Andarans gave you to print the mechs, and any repairs that you would have had to do to your other mechs would also eat up those supplies. Each of you, when you request your mechs from the various corporations, Sparky, you get started first as soon as you get back, because there is, for updating your license, there's a lot of paperwork. For getting a new mech printed, there's even more. And so while everybody else is getting theirs ready to print, you're just finishing the paperwork, and then you get, shortly after, you get the file sent to you with 3 stamps of approval, one from corporate headquarters, one from the local cluster branch, and one from random quality assurance programmer that all have their seal of approval. Let's see.
He knows who any of these people are or what
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah.
No connection to SSC whatsoever.
Yep. But they still got to approve everything. Oni and Ma, your requests for the files for the new mechs are answered fairly quickly. Once you display your badge or display your license on the console, the files are sent over almost immediately. And for Valkyrie,
the files are there before I ask for them.
yeah,
The files
you
are just there on your hard drive when you're not looking.
yeah. So when you go to request request which mech you want, you put the coin on the tablet, and before you even start scrolling through what frames are available, it already starts downloading a Balor,
Yeah.
and it says granted, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
at so-
about about 12 hours after the ship gets in the air, Valkyrie's like, I'm gonna be out for a while, and about an hour later, she just collapses physically onto
We're
the
not even
bed
in
and
the
is
air.
out for
We're
10
just
hours.
staying in dock. We're staying in dock until we get word. So
Yeah, but about 12 hours later, she's like, I'm gonna be out for a bit. Next hour, she's completely passed out for the next 10.
at some point in the week or so that we're waiting to hear from those scouts, I will check with Valkyrie and see if the Dragon Raiders have any sort of like standard tattooing, and we'll show off the Rokumansen that the SMC do. He's trying to figure out.
Oh, you want to hear about standardized tattooing? Let me tell you.
He's trying to figure out ways to
So
blend these
there
two things
are a
together. We're gonna hint up.
There's the Dragon Raider tattoos. Umbra Dracana's tattoos are a bit more front and center. Would be a nice way to put it. I
So
believe
you
they're all
ask
mostly
you ask
facial.
Valkyrie when she wakes up, and she basically runs. There's this long line tattoo that runs down the side of her face, and she just goes, so here is the designator of my name. This is my title. This is my rank within the organization. This is my general branch. And she goes further down. This includes my current deployment, my squad commander, and my roost.
Sort of pulls down the front of his, because he's back in the tank top now. Pulls down the front of the tank top to show off the Rokumansen. This is just our indication that we're sworn to do our duty, regardless of whether or not it costs us our life. So we're gonna have to do some sort of blending here.
The vat grown of Umbra Draconis have a number of physical identifiers, including their hair color and eye color, and also within individual organizations we have identification tattoos, which give name, title, rank, and for the military especially, deployment, squad, commander, and roost.
We should come up with some sort of just graphic image that combines these two things rather than trying to just take on the full.
I mean, a Draconian's tattoo gets updated anytime any of that information changes.
Yeah. Ours
Sparky.
won't.
3 days later, you finish. 3 days later, you, and if Ma helps, finish repairing one of the printers, and you guys can begin printing your new mechs.
So now we have, those that are watching will have noticed that the overlay has changed. So now Oni is piloting the IPSN Blackbeard named Gyuki.
Valkyrie is piloting the Horus Balor named the Sigrun.
Sparky now pilots the SSC Emperor Lazuli.
And Maul is piloting the ISPN Lancaster Baba Yeager.
And to provide specific explanation to Oni when he asks, Valkyrie's like, so my name, this one indicates that I'm a Wormkin, which is the Draconian equivalent of the Lancer rank, which is to say a pilot beyond the normal skill level. I'm a captain. I'm from the first squad of the Stoneborn with the Valkyrie's Roost.
Yeah, I'm going to try to figure out a way to incorporate those ideas, not necessarily those specific kinds of tattoos.
Well, there's no role for that, so I'll let you do that.
I'll let you know by next week what I've got with.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, you guys, and you're able to. It takes about 2 days to print the mech. So by the end of the, by actually about the end of the week and a half, you're able to. You have your mechs and your new mechs. Your other mechs are repaired.
Well, they're consumed in the process because we can only have one mech at a time.
Or they're just deactivated.
I guess so.
Yeah. You had enough materials to print the other mechs, and you have enough bays to store them. It's just you can only have one active at a time.
Mm.
And Gaius actually uses the printer as well to print out a Black Witch.
Nice.
If you guys are cool with that.
Yep.
Letting him use the printer. He will do that.
It's fine by me.
We have already press ganged him into our service. He just
Yeah.
hasn't fully
Yeah.
acknowledged it yet.
Yeah, and about halfway into waiting for the news from the scout sent to the other planet, he does say that they basically reassigned him to act as a liaison between them and you, and basically join your guys' company until further notice.
Welcome aboard the DRSMC Bifrost.
Happy to be here.
Glad to have you with us. What is the I'm sorry, what was this mech called again?
He prints a Black Witch frame, but it's called the Goss.
Okay. What's the manufacturer?
SSC.
SSC. So he got onto the paperwork about the same time that Sparky did.
Right.
And funny enough, you guys have the same QA guy. So final stamp of approval for the program. So yeah, those both print.
Something I just remembered.
Yep.
Why would Moore be working on fixing the printers with Sparky?
Yeah, I think so.
After like the first day of repairs, not looking up from her work, Sparky speaks up. You asked for the weirdest thing I've eaten?
I sure did.
Deep fried poutine. It's a heart attack waiting to happen, but it's amazing.
Maul sort of smiles to herself. I appreciate you thinking about it. Where'd you get into some of that?
Back home at Fortune. They have a distinct style to it. I can send you the recipe.
I'd like that very much. You want me to see if I can make some up?
I'd be interested to see what you do with it.
Well, let's give it a try.
That evening, Mole gets an email describing the process for this particular dish. Basically, you take cheese curds, wrap each of them in a layer of mashed potatoes, coat those in potato flour, and then deep fry them. Transfer to a bowl and douse in gravy. Usually with a side of veggies.
And
just
French
to add a
fries,
bit more nutrition.
if I recall correctly, from poutine.
Sorry, missed that?
And French fries, if I recall correctly, about poutine.
Oh, the mashed potato layer basically replaces the fries.
Yeah.
Fortune style.
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted, Craig.
There it is.
Now, is that good?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I had the hardware mute on and it didn't undo when I
All
flipped the
good.
thing down. Sorry. How easy would it be to replicate that on the ship? I mean, knowing that the answer is not very, but would it be possible to make an approximation?
Yeah, it'd be possible. Let's see, because you have
You
get a
can
hold
create
of
the
something.
molecular structure of potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have get a hold of something.
Yeah. So yeah, you'd be able to get a hold of something that's close enough to a potato substitute. This is actually an agricultural outpost, so.
Yeah, and of course it's not going to be like identical to Fortune ingredients, so you get the next best thing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
So yeah, you're able to make it.
All right.
So desire.
The simple potato has spread across the stars as a staple food on many worlds.
So with using some of the smaller printers, by the way, I have printed out a NHP piloted tattoo chair that Diamir can run for us. and like by the end of the week, the tattoo on Oni has a new tattoo, which is a dragon sort of wrapping around his bicep, coming up over the shoulder and down around the Rokumansen. And in the scales of the dragon are the similar to the line tattoos that Valkyrie has, but these are in kana. Just the kana for Oni and Lancer and whatever Sanadamaru.
Yeah, it's like it's in her artwork, like the series of lines.
Yeah,
going
yeah.
Down the side
So
of
basically,
her face.
replicating that function, if not that form, in the scales of the dragon tattoo.
Yep. As soon as you explain what you're trying to get across using traditional tattoo art and the style of the Dragon Raiders and Umbra Draconis for designation and everything like that, takes about 15 seconds for Diamir to compute through all different variations of how that could work, and then shows you a few. You pick out your favorite.
Yeah.
And then proceeds to tattoo it on you, which takes a little bit of time, but in that same time, towards the end of the tattoo,
Question.
Daimir says that they've also they've also compiled upwards of 4 trillion images and works of art that could be applied to this for any that would want it.
Could I get,
So basically any tattoo.
because we can print SSC self undersuits, could I get Diamir to include some of the mechanism of like a self undersuit into the tattoo so that it can change? Because for those that aren't as familiar with the self undersuit is basically a fully encompassed bodysuit that can
Aren't they grown?
Yeah, they're organic, and they can modify their appearance to be whatever you want, whether that be opaque or translucent or look like any way you want, while giving you full and complete protection from space, and giving you and sustaining you without need for food, and giving you like all the things that what are the other ones, the like the mag suits or whatever they're called, can do, but at the same time being able to look like anything. And like having that injected
Basically,
into the tattoo would mean the tattoo could change.
Intentionally getting an infected tattoo.
Kind of.
Yeah. So yeah, it is a little weird, and it's not so much. It's actually once the tattoo is finished, you watch as the tattoo needle actually recedes, flips over, turns into a slightly higher gauge hypodermic needle, and then just jams into your arm about half an inch, and then you feel something wriggle in your bicep, and then the feeling recedes. Sorry, Andrew.
Yeah.
I have a thing with needles too, so it's
suit
bugging me,
in
but
his
I'm
arm.
enjoying it. Yeah, no, these semi-biological skin-tight undersuits can be worn for extended periods. They are translucent, semi-liquid, and able to be stored when not in use, conforming to whatever container they are placed in. They clean the host's body, aid natural healing processes, and eliminate waste. As desired, segments can become opaque, change color, or take on new texture. They cover the host's head, sealing its vacuum, providing protection against radiation, and filtering air or liquids, even providing the ability to breathe water for a limited time. They're really neat.
Yeah, this lets you change the color and texture of that tattoo, and lets you add any like embellishments to the outside of the outlines.
So yeah, I will.
So yeah,
After getting it done, I will sort of show it off to everyone else and then make some of it change.
Yeah, and that feeling comes back up whenever you make it change.
Feels a little weird, but it's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, that's pretty damn sharp.
I've programmed Daimir has programmed themselves with any number of artworks. So if anyone else wants to get something similar, the chair's over there.
Oh, they got anything sort of like a face-on view of a dragon's teeth or anything?
Probably.
Are you wearing anything? Well, like I was gonna say anything like helmet wise, but
We're in the ship.
just through your, yeah. So on a screen near you, when you ask that question, an image pops up, and then at least 30 more windows pop up, and there's just a menu to pick from.
I'll scroll through and see if there's anything that sort of Ma has an insignia. Nobody's ever seen a tattoo that matches it, but Ma has an insignia on her jumpsuit that is sort of just teeth going like this, sort of front on, like as though you were looking down a maw. And if there's anything roughly equivalent to that, like that you could put a dragon around, she sort of taps that in vague interest and says, I might be able to put this around the original work.
Yeah. So yeah, and there's, you pick a few images that kind of fit that description, and then you say, it like these, just I want it more like this. And then as soon as you say that, kind of like AI machine learning, it, even though it's not, they
NHP machine learning.
Yeah, NHP machine learning. They put together a composite and create a new picture for you.
Definitely something to think about.
Valkyrie kind of looks at one of the screens. It's a long shot, but how much do you know about Umbra Draconis runes and tattoo origins? It's a diasporan culture, but maybe you've got something?
They search through their... do you get an alert if your Omni Hook is being used? Or do you have to actively turn it on or anything like that?
Let's see here.
I feel like a large-scale ship like this might have its own OmniNet connection.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Wait, yeah, no, I think I already said it did.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot. Yeah, no, you watch it open up a database, start searching through planets. It finds Umbra Draconis, goes through lore, and then brings up just lists and lists of runes and historical contexts, their evolution over time, a whole bunch of different.
Looks at it and is like, so this is what we look like from the outside. Okay. And just kind of selects a handful of different alterations to her facial tattoo and also something specific to her lower back. And as she like strips down off of the shirt to lay down for the lower back tattoo, you see that there is a what did I say the cast tattoo for her was Raider symbol is orange. Yeah, so yeah, it's a side. Yeah, so the on the lower, on her lower back is a side profile of a dragon's head inside a circular emblem. And above that, she gets the Rokumon Sen put sort of like in background to the dragon, and then flips over for the facial tattoo as several of the tattoos across her face are removed and replanted with different symbology.
Okay.
Oni.
Yep.
Do you intend for all of us to make use of this?
If you want.
Hmm.
Even
We'll give it some thought.
In the
But,
in the SMC, everyone was required to get the Rokuman-sen over their heart, but I don't really care if you don't want to get a tattoo.
well, I just feel like if I were to get some manner of insignia, then repainting my arm is probably more suitable.
Yeah, what you want.
Yeah, if I end up doing it, it's certainly not going to be over my heart.
Like I said, as it's sort of thumbing towards where Valkyrie's getting it on the lower back. I don't necessarily. I'm not quite as strict as the founders were, and by quite as I mean at all.
So noted.
If you're curious, that's the cast of the Dragon Raiders. We have the face tattoo for individual markings, but most individuals on Umbra Draconis have their cast tattooed on them somewhere private.
The Rokuman-sen is an indication of our willingness to die for the cause, because we've already paid the ferryman his fee. That's why it goes over the heart. Sort of as an explanation.
Tattoos are a lot more practical where I come from, unfortunately.
Eh,
They're not exactly the damn thing, unfortunately.
Well, you're making your own fortune now, so you can decide whether you want them or not.
exactly.
While you guys are having this chat, whenever it's going down, let's see, Gaius will catch you guys and say, I think one of you said something about got a little bit of data from the computers before they wiped. Were you able to figure out what it said?
Yes, it was a. Sparky pulls up her slate because she had it on record. Coordinates for the planet Sanctum Nova. Apparently, a Tovalan fleet is in orbit there.
They seemed to make it a point not to talk around me, but I did hear something about possibly Tovalans getting pissed off about something. I don't know what that is, but what coordinates?
You know,
I haven't heard of Nova Sanctum either.
Hey,
I haven't
Daimir.
even heard of Toval.
Hey, Daimir, could you bring up any information you've got on Toval and Sanctum Nova?
They do a quick search through with the OmniNet. They pull up nothing. There's something. Actually, yeah, no. They don't find anything, but the coordinates that you have do pull up to a planet about 2 weeks jump away. But when Daimir pulls those up on the hollow map, Gaius looks at it and goes, that's Vanima. That's where the scouts were headed.
So Sanctum Nova is their nickname for it?
Or it's a place on Vanima.
No, that's Vanima is the name of the colony and the planet. That is, one moment, and brings up towards the end of the week. This is happening towards the end of the week.
Yeah.
Brings up the comms relay and hails the Andaran planet, and hails Calvin, and comes up on screen and says, I was about to contact you. The scouts should be on their way, or the scouts' information should be coming back anytime soon. Their broadcast, they should have at least reached Vanima by this point. Guy says, well, the information that we have says that it's going by Nova Sanctum now. with a fleet orbiting it. So hopefully they're not up to anything. And as you guys are talking this over for a little while, he says, "Oh, one moment, we're getting the data packet right now," and he brings it up and shares the screen, and you can see from the point of view of the scout ships, them drop out of FTL or out of near light speed, and over the planet, you can see what looks like one capital ship, two ships, probably maybe a little bit bigger than your guys' ship, three destroyer-sized ships as well, and a handful of smaller ships flying between them. And on the surface of the planet beneath them, looks like it looks like the surface is on fire. There is smoke pouring into the atmosphere. Some sort of impact, it looks like, may have taken place. There's debris that's orbiting around in between the ships and the planet's surface. And you can see what looks like their sensors begin to flash as you begin hearing frantic calls for evasive maneuvers, as it appears that one of the ships has deployed fighters. And I believe that is where we're going to be ending it for the night.
Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
All right.
Goodbye.